Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer, where we're taking a deep dive into one of the absolute most fascinating intersections in astrology: high stakes, legal ethics, and cosmic placements. Now, if you're already following astrology, you know the deal with the sixth house. It's the daily grind, duty, service, and yeah, those inevitable, messy conflicts we all run into. It's the house of friction and disputes. But here's where it gets wild. When Jupiter, the expansive planet of higher philosophy, truth, and grand law, when that massive energy parks itself right in the sixth house, that standard dynamic completely shatters. We are literally no longer dealing with mundane office squabbles. We are stepping squarely into the realm of high jurisprudence and, quite frankly, profound ethical warfare. Today, we're going to totally unpack how this specific placement flips the script on conflict, turning your everyday battles into a profound quest for ultimate fairness.
So let's kick this off with a bit of a hypothetical, all right? Imagine you are wrapped up in a grueling corporate lawsuit. It's dragging on, it's exhausting. Suddenly, the other side offers you a massive settlement. I mean, we're talking life-changing money to just walk away and never think about the friction again. But there's a catch. You've got to sign a non-disclosure agreement that buries a dangerous systemic flaw in their product. Now, for a lot of folks, that financial payout and the sweet relief of protecting their own peace of mind, that wins out easily. But what actually happens when a legal dispute is driven by morality instead of money? Well, when we look at the mechanics of Jupiter stationed in the sixth house, that typical self-serving script gets thrown entirely out the window. Morality completely usurps the payout. The whole drive for personal gain is just overridden by this uncompromising demand to do what is fundamentally right, even if it means you have to walk away from an absolute fortune just to prove a point.
Which brings us right into phase one, the foundation of fairness. When we explore this foundation, there is just a stark, undeniable contrast between how everyday disputes operate and how Jupiter practically demands they operate. Usually, societal conflicts is fueled by one of two things: a bruised ego or the promise of a big financial reward. It's all about personal gain. But remember, Jupiter is the planet of higher law. It's absolute truth and grand philosophy. So when you drop that expansive, massive energy into the house of daily friction and litigation, it acts like an ethical magnifying glass. It flat out refuses to let you fight dirty. Under this influence, you become practically allergic to conflicts born out of greed. The whole battleground shifts. You stop asking, how do I destroy this person? And instead you ask, wait, what is the underlying principle at stake here? Ethics, morality, and fairness, they aren't just corporate buzzwords here. They are the literal weapons you are required to wield. And that beautifully sets up phase two, when belief systems clash. Think about the classic whistleblower scenario for a second. Someone doesn't just wake up one Tuesday and decide to take on a multi-billion-dollar corporation over a misplaced stapler or some petty office light. No, it starts because a deeply held belief system is violated. Maybe they uncover a safety hazard that clashes violently with their core values. Suddenly, that friction escalates from a minor observation into a profound question of systemic justice. It becomes the ultimate test of integrity. And honestly, this is the exact anatomy of a Jupiter in the sixth house dispute. You aren't drawn into the arena over simple misunderstandings. You're compelled to fight because an opposing force has threatened a foundational concept of right and wrong. For this placement, stepping away would basically mean compromising your own soul. So how do you navigate that storm? Let's look at phase three, the role of advisors. This is where we really have to pay attention to Jupiter's traditional role. Astrologically speaking, Jupiter is the guru. It's the teacher, the ruler of higher law. It thrives on wisdom. So, when it's operating in the sixth house of enemies and disputes, trying to play the lone wolf is honestly one of the most dangerous things you can do. It essentially short-circuits your cosmic advantage. You're dealing with highly intricate moral frameworks here, and that requires absolute precision to navigate. So leaning on experienced legal experts, mentors, or wise guides, that isn't just a good idea, it's a fundamental requirement written right into the astrological code. These guides act as a crucial bridge. They take your raw, burning desire for ultimate fairness, and they translate it into a sharp, effective, legally sound strategy in the real world. Moving right along, we arrive at phase four, transparency and lawful resolutions. Now, our source material anchors this entire philosophy with a very simple yet powerful idea. Success comes through honesty and ethical conduct. I know, it sounds a little bit like something you'd read on a motivational poster in a high school guidance counselor's office. But in the ruthless, cutthroat context of high-stakes legal warfare, maintaining that level of purity is agonizingly difficult. Yet it is the absolute golden rule of this placement. Jupiter operates on this principle of divine protection, but, and this is a huge but, it will only shield you if you play by its rules. If you resort to shady tactics, backroom deals, or, even just bending the truth a fraction to gain an edge, you instantly sever that protection. Your ethical conduct isn't just taking the moral high ground, it is the literal mechanism that generates your luck and secures your victory. And this creates such a fascinating causal chain. It's not just a checklist of nice behaviors to try and remember, it's a precise domino effect. It starts the exact moment you choose to act with absolute, radical transparency. By forcing all the facts into the light, hiding literally nothing and illuminating all those shadows, you corner the opposition. That transparency naturally demands a lawful and principled resolution. You aren't manipulating the system. You're actually forcing the system to work exactly as it was designed to. And when you align the truth with the law in this way, it inevitably tips the scales, giving you a highly favorable outcome. The victory is secured, not through some clever trick, but because the sheer weight of undeniable truth simply crushes the opposition. Which finally brings us to Phase 5, Lessons in Accountability. When you eventually emerge from the other side of these intense battles, you realize something huge. The conflict was never really about the opponent at all. It was a crucible. It was a carefully designed curriculum meant to burn away your ethical impurities. You aren't just walking away with a favorable verdict, you are walking away fundamentally changed. You've gained this profound, battle-tested wisdom. Your personal ethics, which, let's be honest, might have just been purely theoretical before, are now solidified in stone because you actually had to defend them under extreme pressure. You learn to fully embrace accountability, truly understanding the massive weight of your choices. You literally level up your moral operating system. And you carry this completely new blueprint for how you'll handle every single ethical dilemma for the rest of your life. As we close out this explainer, I want to leave you with a defining question. Something to chew on the next time you feel the friction of a brewing conflict. When you are inevitably pushed to the brink, will your battle be just another messy fight for personal gain? Or will you elevate it into a profound lesson in wisdom and accountability? Look, the daily friction of the sixth house is practically guaranteed, but tapping into the expansive, ethical power of Jupiter, that's a choice. So next time you face a clash of values, remember the immense power of fighting for the principle rather than just the prize. Thanks for exploring this source material with me today. And as always, keep learning.